Good afternoon, everyone. Hope all
Good
of you are.
afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. Please mute yourself. If you have any doubts, any question, I will ask you. Then you can unmute yourself. Okay. So this is the microprocessor and microcontroller class. So before going to discuss the topic, I would like to share something. That is Shreyoshi, roll number. Please mute yourself. So before going to discuss any subject, I think it is better to understand what is the course objective of that subject. You must familiar with the course objective as well as the course outcomes. Okay. So this is the, is it visible to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Visible.
Okay. So this is the syllabus of your microprocessor and microcontroller. There are 4 modules. First module is based on the 8085 and 8086 microprocessor. Second module is the based on the interfacing. How can you connect those microprocessor with different input output devices? There are certain techniques, certain methods, which I would like to discuss later on. Module 3, that is based on the advanced microprocessor. After 8085, 8086, several microprocessor has been invented by the Intel. uh, 80286, 486 Pentium, as well as the microcontroller will be discussed in this module, module 3. And the module 4, that is based on the ARM microcontroller, which is basically an embedded system. It is required in embedded system, ARM microcontroller, as well as the RISC processors. Okay. So what is the course objective of microprocessor and microcontroller? The first objective is to ability to expose the hardware details of 8085, 8086, 80286, 486 Pentium RISC processors, as well as the microcontroller 8051 and ARM microcontroller. Second objective is to ability to understand, that is ability to understand the different data transfer schemes. Okay, data transfer techniques are available. So basically these processors or the microcontrollers are used to process the data. And how can you process the data? There are certain techniques. So you can understand the different techniques. Third objective is to learn the programming, 8085 based program, 8086 based program, and the 8051 microcontroller based program. And fourth objective is to learn the interfacing of different peripheral ICs with 8085 as well as 8086 and 8051 microcontroller. So these four objectives are there. And what will be the outcome of this course? So when you would like to finish the course, the outcomes will be, first one is you can understand the internal architecture and the pin description or the pin diagram of 8-bit microprocessor and their extension version, that is the 16-bit microprocessor, as well as the microcontroller, which is 8-bit in size. Second course outcome or second CO, that is understand the synchronous and asynchronous data transfer schemes, as well as the interrupt process. Okay, because two process, synchronous and asynchronous data transfer, that is serial data transfer, and the interrupt data transfer, both can be understand. And third CO is the make use of the programming, assembly language programming for various applications using this 8085, 8086, and the 8051 microcontroller. Fourth course outcome is make use of the peripheral ICs. Different peripheral ICs are available, that is 8255 IC, 8253 IC, 51, 8259, ADC, DAC. These ICs are there for interfacing with external world using the microprocessor or microcontroller. Fifth course outcome, that is explain some modern processors like 80286, 486. All of you know about the Pentium 1, 2, 3, 4. These are etc. to handle more advanced systems in future. Okay, so these are the basic 8085, 8086. These are the basic microprocessor. Uh, these are the most successful microprocessor in using by the Intel. So that is the basically powerful microprocessor at that time. It is in 1970s. Okay, because most of the operation can be performed using this microprocessor. Both different type of arithmetic and logical calculations can be done. Different decision making capabilities was there. So these are the 8085, 8086. That is the basic of the microprocessor. So if you can understand, if you can use of this 8085 and 8086, you can easily understand the most advanced versions. Those are available in your course, which are 8086, 486, Pentium, etc. The fifth course outcome is design of microprocessor or microcontroller based system. Okay, you have the mini project to perform that project using the microprocessor IC or microcontroller IC. Okay, so these are the 5 course outcome. So let's start the course. So microprocessor, introduction and evaluation. So what is microprocessor? Okay, so there are two terms. One is the micro, another is the processor. So micro means very small in size, micro, and processor means which can process. So in this context, data will be processed. And now which data? The binary data, 0 or 1. Okay, so the microprocessor basically it's a small device which is executed within few microseconds because it's a clock driven device. It must have some clock frequency. So if it has some clock frequency, then and most of the like the microprocessor, it is executed within some megahertz frequency. So if the frequency is in some megahertz form, then the time required to execute one operation, one such instruction will be 1 by f. That is t equals to 1 by f. We all of you know that. So that is the time which is in microsecond. So every operation will be performed in microsecond. So that's why these are called the microprocessor. Okay, the actual definition is over here. Microprocessor is a multi-purpose, programmable, clock-driven, register-based electronic device that reads binary instructions from a storage device called memory, accepts memory data as input, and processes data according to those instructions and provides results as output. So here there are certain terms, that is it is a multi-purpose. Now why it is so called multi-purpose means you can use this processor, this device in different operation. You can use it to calculate some arithmetic operation, you can use it to calculate some logical operation and or not, XOR, you can perform it. You can make some decision whether this will be performed or that will be performed. Okay, so decision making capabilities will be there. So the operation which is based on some decision that can be performed, that's why it is called the multi-purpose. And next is programmable. Why it is programmable? Because everything which will be executed, every operation that will be executed based on some instruction. Now instruction means it's a basically a program. So a group of instruction, it creates a program, and that program can be changed anytime according to your requirement. Okay, so program can be changed as per your requirement. So that's why it is programmable, clock driven. It has some clock frequency. That's why it's called clock driven. Please mute yourself. Thank you. Register based electronic device. So it has several registers. Now registers, what is the use of register? Anyone?
So to store
So
data.
it is basically used as a storage.
Yes.
Memory.
Yes. Good. So one register, basically one bit that can be stored in one. So register, how can you make this register? How can you make this register? Using the flip-flop, right? So one flip-flop can store one bit at a time. Okay, so several flip-flops can be used to create register which is in different size, like 8-bit register, 16-bit register. So if you want to make a we can 8-bit register, you need 8 flip-flops. Clear? If you want to make some 16-bit register, you need 16 flip-flop, because each flip-flop can store 1 bit of data. Okay, so here different registers are available so that you can store the data in that register and use that data according to your program logic, your instruction. Clear? And so it basically reads binary instructions from a storage device called memory. So all of you are familiar with the memory. What is the memory? RAM, ROM. Have you heard it? RAM, ROM.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So these memories are used to store the data also, as well as some instructions. Binary instruction means everything that is performed in our computer is basically a group of zeros and ones. So millions or billions of zeros and ones. So everything which is stored inside the memory, that is in the combination of zeros and ones. Okay, so any instruction that must be stored inside the memory, or any data that can be stored inside the memory or register. Clear? So instructions will be stored inside the memory. So it reads the binary instructions from the memory, accepts the binary data as input, and processes the data according to those instructions and provides a result. So here one block diagram is there where a microprocessor is over here, and you must remember that microprocessor itself, it is meaningless until and unless these are connected with it. So this is called the microprocessor based system, where you need to perform some input, you need to take some input to perform certain operation and gives a result as output with the help of this memory. So all these are interconnected. Now microprocessor, it's a single IC, it's a single IC that is connected via these devices. Okay, these peripheral devices. Okay, input, output, and memory. These are external to the microprocessor. So externally you need to connect it. So according to the definition, so it reads the binary instructions from the memory, take the inputs, binary inputs, binary data as inputs, and provides the result as per the instructions which can be read from this memory. Clear? Now to work with your microprocessor, you need to connect all of these. Okay. Clear up to this much? Do you have any queries, any doubt?
Sir.
Yes, sir. Clear.
Yes, sir.
Clear, sir.
Okay. So move on to the next slide. So basically, the microprocessor, that is the heart of any computer system. Okay, and when this microprocessor based system with limited resources are connected, these are called the microcomputers. Okay, and today microprocessor can be found in almost all consumer electronic devices, such as the computer printer, washing machines, microwave ovens, mobile phones, fax machines, photo copiers, Xerox machines, and in advanced applications like in case of radar or satellite or inside the flights, everywhere. So any middle class household will have about a dozen of microprocessor in different forms inside various appliances. Okay, you have the refrigerator, you have um, AC. So everywhere you have the TV remote. So everywhere these microprocessors are there. Traffic light signal that can be also performed by the microprocessor. So where you need to create a smart system or automatic system, you must implement some programming. And if there is a programming, that means there must be one microprocessor. It's clear. So so now typically the basic microprocessor chips actually it has it have arithmetic and logic function units uh, along with associated control logic to process the instruction execution. So almost all microprocessors use the basic concept of stored program execution. Stored program execution. Okay, programs or instructions that is to be executed by the microprocessor are stored sequentially in the memory locations. Okay, so memory, that is what is the memory, how it looks. It is just like a notebook, but several lines are there. Now each line can store specific amount of data. Okay, so different lines, it denotes that these are the memory locations where some specified data can be stored. Okay, so the microprocessor or rather it's called the processor, it fetches the instructions, means the reads the instruction one after another sequentially and executes them in its arithmetic and logic unit. In short, it is called the ALU, arithmetic and logic unit. So all microprocessor have a built-in memory access and management part as well as some amount of memory. Okay, so microprocessor that can be programmed to perform any task that can be written and programmed by the user. So without the program, the microprocessor unit, that is a useless unit. Okay, so the programmer must take care of all the resources of the microprocessor and use them efficiently for implementing the required functionality. So to work with the microprocessor, it is necessary for the programmer to know about its internal resources and different features. Okay, that must also understand the instructions that a microprocessor can support. So every microprocessor, basically, it will have its own associated set of instructions. And this list is given by all microprocessor manufacturers, because nowadays the microprocessor which was invented by Intel, this 8085, now along with this microprocessor, another company, another manufacturer companies was there, like Zilog, like Motorola. Uh, so this type of
Sir, AMD.
Toshiba, sir.
Toshiba. Okay, so at 19 in this later 1960s or 70s, okay, at that time these manufacturers was there which used to process the or design the microprocessors. Okay, Motorola, Zilog, these are. Now AMD, that is the new one. Okay, not at that time. So the instruction set, basically, that is for microprocessor, it is in two forms. Okay, one that is called the mnemonic. Mnemonic, that is called the mnemonic, MNEMONIC. Mnemonic, which is comparatively easy to understand, and the other is binary machine code, which the microprocessor works with and is difficult for us to understand. So for now, as human being, we can understand just like English words like add, ADD, or SUB, sub, or AND operation. So these are just like English words, so these are called the mnemonics. But this and, add, sub, uh, division, div, so these are not identified by any machine. For that purpose, this mnemonics must be converted into a machine code. Okay, so every instruction that must be converted into machine code, so that machine can understand what is the meaning of that instruction. So basically it interprets this mnemonics. So for us, we have to write the programs using mnemonics, and for machine it must be converted. So generally programs are written using mnemonics called assembly language program, and then converted into binary machine level language with the help of some predefined machine code chart. Okay, and that machine code chart must be supplied by that particular manufacturer. So this conversion basically done manually or using an application called the assembler. Okay, all of you have done the C language.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So, so in C language, what was the use of compiler?
It converts into the machine language
Yes.
or
So
instructions.
yes. So in C language, which was the high level language, and in C language, the compiler is used, and in case of assembly language, which microprocessor, in case of microprocessor, that is to be converted by an application called the assembler. Okay. So in general, programs are written by the user for the microprocessor to work with real world data, and these data are available in many forms and from many sources. Now to input this data to the microprocessor based system needs some input interfacing circuits and some electronic processing circuits. Okay, now 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 these circuits, actually it includes the data converters as well as the ports. Okay, so after processing the real world data, what happened, the output from the microprocessor must be taken out to give to the output devices or some circuits. Now this again needs interfacing circuits and ports, because at the input side you need it, and also you need the circuit in output at output side. So microprocessor based system, basically it will need a set of memory units and interfacing circuits for inputs and output. Okay, and this physical components of the microcomputer systems are called the hardware, and the program that makes the hardware useful is called the software. Clear? The physical components of the microcomputer system are called hardware, and the program that makes this hardware useful is called software. Okay, so basically this semiconductor manufacturing technology for different chips, this has developed from TTL logic to CMOS. Now, microprocessor manufacturing also has gone through this technological changes. The other semiconductor manufacturing technology available is ECL, and all of you know that TTL technology is most commonly used for basic digital integrated circuits. Okay, CMOS is favored for portable computers and other battery power devices because of its low power consumption. Okay, so these ICs, so basically microprocessor, it is an IC. Okay, integrated circuit, because in before the invention of this microprocessor, the computer hardware, that is made by some discrete components, and the system was look bigger, the huge system was there. So after the invention of the IC technology, the size will be reduced. The size was reduced. Now, with the help of this IC technology, this microprocessor comes into this market, and the CPU, which was made by some discrete components, that is made by the microprocessor IC. And at that time, it was called the microprocessor unit, or in short, it is called MPU. Okay, so the discrete component based boards are replaced by the microprocessor IC, and it is called the microprocessor unit, or in short, it's called the MPU. Okay, so there are certain terms relevant to the use of this microprocessor that will be discussed now. So the first is the chip. So basic terminology, there are some terms you must familiar with this term because you need these terms in this course, microprocessor and microcontroller. The first is the chip. So a chip or an integrated circuit, that is a small thin piece of silicon with the required circuits and transistors etched on it to perform a particular function. Okay, the simpler processors that may consist of a few thousand transistors etched onto a silicon base, just a few millimeters square. So how small it is, you can assume. Next is the bit. All of you are familiar with the bit. So a bit means single binary digit. The bit is also the fundamental storage unit of computer, in computer memory. So in binary form, a bit can have only two values, 0 and 1, whereas a decimal digit can have 10 values represented by symbols 0 through 9. Then what is bit size? So bit size of a microprocessor refers to the number of bits that can be processed simultaneously by the basic arithmetic circuits of the microprocessor. That is called the bit size. So what is word? A word is the number of bits grouped together for processing. Okay, so in microprocessor, a word refers to the basic data size or bit size that can be processed by the arithmetic and logic unit of the processor. Okay, a 16-bit binary number is called a word in a 16-bit processor, and 32-bit, it is called the double word. Okay, 64-bit, that is called the quad word. So in this way, the word has been utilized. Memory word. Now, the number of bits that can be stored in a register or memory element is called the memory word. Mostly all memory units use 8 bits for their memory word. Means the memory location, in each memory location, only 8 bit of data can be stored. Like in our college, what is your classroom number? Either 403 or 406. Okay, so your classroom number is 406, and inside that classroom, how many students can be accumulated? 60. Clear? So here also a memory location can be designated in 16-bit size, but inside that memory, how much space is available to store the data? Only 8-bit. So memory location size, that is equivalent to your room number, and inside the room, the student accumulation number is equivalent with the space which is inside the memory location, each memory location. Okay, next is the byte. Now an 8-bit word is generally referred as a byte, and what is nibble? A 4-bit word is called a nibble. So 2 nibble means 8-bit, which is 1 byte. So don't confuse with bit and byte. 1 byte is equivalent to 8 bit. Okay, which is equivalent to 2 nibble. kilobyte, a collection of 1024 bytes called kilobyte, that is 2 to the power 10 bytes. So here this is not 210 bytes, that is 2 to the power 10 bytes. Okay, it is wrongly written here. So megabyte is called 2 to the power 20. A collection of 1024 kilobytes is called 1 megabyte. Next, coming to the memory section where RAM and ROM is there. Different RAM is available like DRAM, SRAM. DRAM means the dynamic RAM, static RAM means SRAM. So what is RAM? So RAM basically it is a random access memory or read-write memory. It's a semiconductor memory in which a particular memory location can be erased and written with new data at any time. So these memory units, these are volatile. That means the contents of the memory are erased when the power is off, and the access of this individual memory location that can be done randomly. And in microprocessor, the RAM is used to store the data. Okay, so when you're about to read this microprocessor, this subject, forget about the flash memory or any other advanced memories. Only you need to consider the basic RAM and ROM. RAM and ROM, where RAM can be used to store your data, everything you need to perform to write any program that must be performed using with the help of RAM. Inside RAM you need to create your program, inside RAM you need to store your data, so everything will be performed based on the RAM. And what is the use of ROM? That is the read-only memory whose contents can be written even after removing this power supply. And that's why ROM is basically used to store the monitor program or system program, which cannot be altered. Okay, that is fixed. So RAM can be erased anytime. You can change your program, you can change your data. That's why everything will be stored inside the RAM. Is it clear? Any confusion up to this much?
Yes, sir.
Clear.
Yes, sir, clear.
Okay. So we will have 2 minutes to end this session. So after ending this session, you need to rejoin using the same link to continue the second session. Okay. And who is this here? Rajul, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So take the attendance and send it to my WhatsApp number.
Okay, sir.
So you need to rejoin again using the same link to continue the next session. So
Yes, sir, I have taken it.
thank you. So ALU, basically the next is the ALU. ALU means it's a digital circuit where that is present inside the microprocessor to perform certain arithmetic and logical operations on digital data. Now the typical operations performed by the ALU are like logical and, addition, subtraction, logical and, logical or, these are. And the function of ALU of a microprocessor that will decide the processor's functionality basically. Okay. Okay, so what is microcontroller? So I have already explained the microcomputer, but I have not discussed about the microcontroller. So that will be discussed on next session. Okay, after 1 minute.